bands swap singers all the time. That part's easy.
And I'm gonna keep on loving you.
Losing the person who defines the band? That's usually an ending.
666, from now on the beast.
The voice, the face, the lightning rod. Most groups don't survive it, but a few didn't just survive, they conquered. Tonight, the rare cases where a band lost its frontman and somehow got bigger. Stick around for the bonus, where we look at the one band that fired the man who invented the entire genre. Let's start at number 10. They weren't supposed to be an arena band, just a Midwest road outfit grinding through campuses and clubs until one voice slowly took over. REO Speedwagon.
We flew into town on Sunday. Had the best.
REO Speedwagon began at the University of Illinois in 1966, coalescing into an active touring band by 1967. Long before the hits, they lived on the road, cycling through early lineups across the Midwest. Epic Records signed them in 1971, and their self-titled debut arrived that October with original lead singer Terry Luttrell. Luttrell left in early 1972. The split was contentious, with accounts differing, but it was final.
I believe it's time for me to fly.
Kevin Cronin stepped in, recorded REO TWO 1972, then left for several years. During the mid-70s, Mike Murphy handled lead vocals as the band kept touring without a major breakthrough. When Cronin returned in 1976, everything aligned. High Infidelity, November 1980, spent 15 weeks at number 1 and became the best-selling U.S. album of 1981. No reinvention, just a frontman loss that set up their biggest peak.
And I'm gonna keep on loving you.
Number 9. They already had a hit, but it wasn't the sound they wanted to live with. Deep Purple.
Thought I heard her calling my name now. Hush, hush.
Deep Purple first broke through with singer Rod Evans, scoring a surprise hit with Hush in 1968. The success brought attention, but not satisfaction. By mid-1969, the band wanted something heavier and more aggressive. Evans and bassist Nick Semper were dismissed, and Ian Gillan and Roger Glover were brought in from episode 6.
Wait for the ricochet.
The shift created the classic Mark II lineup alongside Ritchie Blackmore, John Lord, and Ian Pace. Deep Purple in rock, 1970, made the change unmistakable. Fireball followed in 1971. Then Machine Head arrived in 1972, anchoring their legacy. When Smoke on the Water exploded globally as a single in 1973, the scale changed. Made in Japan captured the band at full volume. From there on, Deep Purple operated on a different level.
Nobody gonna take my collar, gonna race it through the crowd.
Number 8. The band was already there. The scream, the leather, and the look were not. Judas Priest.
You've been a victim of changes.
Judas Priest were already a functioning band in the early 70s, working clubs, building material, and trying to find stability. Early singer Al Atkins, a founding member, left in 1973 as the band's situation remained financially and structurally unstable. Priest didn't pause, they recalibrated. The arrival of Rob Halford that same year changed the trajectory completely. His range, control, and piercing high notes turned Priest into something sharper and more dangerous. The shift wasn't just sonic, it gave the band a new center of gravity. The records that followed, from Sad Wings of Destiny through Stained Class, built the blueprint. By the time British Steel arrived in 1980, Priest reached an audience they had never touched before. And in the late 70s, Halford helped cement the leather and studs image that became heavy metal's uniform. This wasn't a late career correction, it was the moment Judas Priest became definitive.
It's a little to despair.
Number 7. 2 albums in, then the voice changed, and the songs got bigger. Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden were already a known force in the British metal underground. 2 albums deep, relentless touring, a reputation built on urgency. But in late 1981, singer Paul Di'Anno was dismissed as reliability issues mounted, driven by heavy drinking and drug use that increasingly affected performances. Bruce Dickinson joined later that year, fresh from Simpson, bringing a different instrument altogether. Wider range, greater control, a voice that could carry melody without sacrificing force. Almost immediately, the band's scale expanded. The Number of the Beast, released in March 1982, wasn't just a successful album, it marked Maiden's transition from cult favorite to international contender. Bigger rooms followed, then arenas. The identity stayed intact. The ceiling moved. Iron Maiden didn't abandon their sound. They finally gave it the voice it needed to travel. Number 6. The band came out of San Francisco. The singer who changed everything was only 20. Faith No More. Faith No More were already active and visible in the Bay Area underground when the lineup fractured. 2 albums in, singer Chuck Mosley was fired in 1988 as internal tensions and reliability issues mounted. The break was decisive. The replacement altered the band's direction immediately. Mike Patton joined later that year at 20 years old, bringing range, discipline, and a very different relationship to the microphone. The shift was undeniable on The Real Thing, released in June 1989.
You can touch it, smell it, taste it so sweet, but it makes no difference 'cause it's not you.
The record carried the band far beyond the Mosley era, fueled by the epic single and its heavy MTV rotation in 1990, plus relentless touring. The Mosley years built a base, the Patton years reached the world. Number 5. The band that started with one mind, then that mind slipped away, and the music went somewhere else. Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd were already visible on the London Underground when the break came. By late 1967, founding singer and guitarist Syd Barrett had become increasingly unreliable on stage and in the studio, prompting the band to bring in David Gilmour as a second guitarist. There was no immediate announcement. In January 1968, on the way to a gig, the band simply decided not to pick Barrett up. His departure was formally announced on April 6, 1968. What followed took time to cohere. With Gilmour fully integrated and Roger Waters increasingly steering the writing and concepts, the group moved away from Barrett-era singles toward expansive, long-form statements, a direction that solidified in the early 70s. When The Dark Side of the Moon arrived in 1973, it didn't just succeed, it redefined the scale. The Barrett era lit the fuse. What came after carried the weight. Number 4. The costumes were the warning. Then the voice was gone, and the band kept growing. Genesis. Genesis were already an established progressive band when the fracture came. After the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway tour ended in May 1975, Peter Gabriel chose to leave. His theatrical vision had shaped their early identity. The split was made public in August 1975. What followed surprised almost everyone. Genesis didn't immediately hand the mic to Phil Collins. They auditioned dozens of singers. One nearly fit, but the keys were wrong. As Collins sang the material to demonstrate phrasing and range, the solution became obvious. The transition was careful at first, then it widened. Over the next decade, Genesis moved from theaters to arenas, from cult status to constant radio presence. More people heard the band, the audience changed. Number 3. They were already on the radio, but the lineup everyone argues about hadn't shown up yet. Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac were already established by the mid-70s with U.S. momentum built in the Bob Welch era. Welch quit in December 1974, burned out as the band's internal strain and financial pressure kept rising. The band didn't just replace a singer, they rebuilt the frame.
You can go your own way.
In early 1975, Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks joined as a unit, and the chemistry shifted overnight. Fleetwood Mac, 1975, broadened their reach fast. Then Rumors in 1977 turned into one of the best-selling albums in history. Some listeners still swear by the earlier versions. The lineup that sparked the arguments is the one most people know. It also turned out to be the most volatile. Number 2. The frontman was the band. When he was gone, most people expected the fall. Van Halen. By 1985, Van Halen were at the top of American rock. Multi-platinum albums, constant MTV rotation, a singer whose personality defined the band's public image. When the David Lee Roth era ended after a bitter internal split, it felt like an ending. It wasn't. The band moved forward with Sammy Hagar, whose cleaner vocal approach and steadier presence changed how the songs were built. You could hear the difference immediately. The albums that followed connected fast. 4 consecutive releases reached number 1 on the Billboard 200. 5150 in 1986, OU812 in 1988, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge 1991, and Balance 1995. Touring stayed strong, the audience stayed with them. Van Halen didn't abandon what they were, they sustained a level of success most thought impossible without their original star. Number 1. The band lost a voice no one could imitate, and one signature instrument stayed locked to his era. AC/DC. By early 1980, AC/DC were already global contenders, and Bon Scott had given the band its wit, danger, and personality. When he died on February 19, 1980, it wasn't a change they chose, it forced a decision. They chose to continue. Brian Johnson stepped into the frontman role with a different voice and a different kind of power. The band didn't rewrite the past. The bagpipes on It's a Long Way to the Top remained a Bon-era stamp, not something the new lineup tried to turn into a new calling card. Back in Black arrived in July 1980 as continuation, not replacement. It pushed AC/DC to a level of worldwide visibility they hadn't reached before. Bon Scott was irreplaceable. What followed didn't pretend otherwise. Bonus. The band fired the voice that defined the genre. What came back years later hit on a bigger live scale than anyone expected. Black Sabbath. By April 1979, the situation had become unworkable. Ozzy Osbourne was fired after years of instability and internal damage, removing the band's original voice. The replacement was formidable. Ronnie James Dio stepped in and kept Sabbath vital into the next decade. Heaven and Hell, released in April 1980, proved the band could continue with authority and intent. Years later, Ozzy returned. Beginning with Ozfest 1997 and the full original lineup homecoming shows in Birmingham in December 1997, the reunion era shifted the live reality. Arenas, major festivals, and crowds that felt unified in a way the 70s couldn't sustain. Not a higher creative peak, a broader one. That's the list. If one more belongs here, name it and make the case.